Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. So I've muted everybody, but if you happen to be unmuted, you can please mute yourself. Saw a funny meme on things people say when they log into Zoom. Can you see my shared screen and please mute yourself, or the number ones. Okay, just give people a few more minutes. Thumbs up if you're happy it's Friday. Yay. Okay, I've got Jamila. Okay, this meeting is being recorded. Right now I have everyone on mute, so you should be okay. You don't have to worry. But sometimes the mute button is a little wonky, so. I will send everyone a copy of this link, so you have it. So if you have to cut out or leave a little early, that's fine. As you can see, we are rather a large group. That's okay. I'm just going to give it 2 more minutes. If you need to grab water or want to get a pencil and paper, you can. Although you don't need to worry, everything will be sent to you afterwards. Lots of emails today. Hi, Eileen. Okay, so we have some administrators here with us that aren't on the subcommittees, but I've invited them just to see the overview so that they can get an idea of what this process will look like. Of course, we're shooting in the dark. We don't really know because Governor has not really provided us yet with guidance, but I don't want to wait for that. There's lots of school districts that are starting to create their plans. We've been peeking at them. I have a couple of parent liaisons who I'll talk a little bit more about, especially individuals who work in other school districts who might be a good conduit for us to share some ideas from neighboring school districts, even neighboring countries. So everybody is doing this together. So, okay. Okay, then 1 more minute. I'll start at 10:05 if that's okay. And I'll share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, so this is just an overview. It's not an open forum. The setup will be that the subcommittees will be open forums with anywhere from 6 to 10 people within a group, okay? And I'll talk a little bit about what that will look like. Just a few more seconds, let's do that. All right, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. And I'm just going to, you guys can all hear me, thumbs up? Yes? Beginning. Okay. All right, thank you for giving me your time this morning. I promise it will be brief. We're just going to talk a little bit about our Return to Learn task force. So our goal is to reopen schools in a way that prioritizes the health, the safety, and the well-being of all. One more person to admit. Okay. Trying to move it, there it is. We will be talking about various scenarios in these focus groups. And there are a lot of them, as you can tell. We have the middle school, the high school, which I am considering two separate entities, Cherry Lane, and we have Rushmore. And all of those different buildings have different considerations that need to be examined. But there are three scenarios that we know will probably happen in September. One is that the governor will tell us that we are not going to go back to school as normal, and we will be virtual only, which means there will be a distance learning plan or a remote learning plan. The second would be a full reopen, meaning back to business as usual. Okay, everybody would be allowed to come back into the building. What kinds of protocols would need to be in place for that to happen? And finally, the 50% reopen, as we call it, meaning some kids will be in the building and some kids will be at home. We don't know which scenario we're going to be told by the governor will be the one we have to follow. Before we meet with your subgroups, and every subgroup has a chair, a teacher chair, who will take notes and set up the Zoom and facilitate the conversation, there are some givens. I'm just going to review them very quickly so you know what those givens are and you don't really have to talk about them much in your committee meeting, although you certainly can. Students will have individual devices with headphones. So unlike this year where our students were not provided a district device unless a parent requested it, in September, regardless of whether we come back 100% virtually, we come back normally, or we do a half and half schedule, students will have individual devices with headphones to have and to hold forever, even when we get a vaccine and the pandemic is behind us. Also, all teachers will have devices equipped with camera. The district is adjusting the infrastructure accordingly, so you don't have to worry about bandwidth here, and we have purchased internet hotspots to help with bandwidth for teachers and students at home. If we do remote instruction, it will be live. So what that means is it won't be packets or only pre-recorded content. The teacher will be teaching with the computer in front of your child. It will be live instruction. Any pre-recorded content or outside links will be used with live instruction. So just like we don't show a movie in the classroom and walk out, with this new model, with having these individual devices, our teachers will be able to be active participants, and the students as well, in any type of pre-recorded content or PowerPoints or whatnot that is used. Remote instruction will follow a prescribed schedule, and that's where I need the committee's help. The district will have a single platform. That platform will be Google Classroom. However, people sometimes like to use Seesaw and Zoom, etc. And as long as it's from that single platform where parents can find it with stored passwords, that's how it will work. District will provide training to parents, staff, and students, and that training will take place before school starts. The district will provide summer learning options for students to catch up. Okay, so we have a learning forward program for math, grade 6, 7, and 8 that the district will be offering. Daily cleaning protocols will be followed, and PPE, personal protective equipment, will be provided. And this is the most important one. Wherever we can, however possible, we're going to try to maintain existing staff. So this is not a means of reducing staff because, as we all know, as we've all learned, computers do not replace teachers. So the areas that the subcommittees are touching upon are the following: health and safety, and that's sort of been broken up into the physical health and the mental health. So depending on what subcommittee you're on, and everybody has a little area that they will be assigned to, we will be talking about those areas within your groups. A set of guiding questions will be provided to each subcommittee, 3 to 5 questions, 3 scenarios, very, very narrow focus. We'll also be talking about practices and protocols in our school buildings. And here you can see a picture of what a possible scenario for arrival or dismissal could look like, and also what walking in the hallways could look like. And of course, there's many, many, many different things we need to discuss about that for all 4 buildings, hence all of the people on the committee. We will also be talking about instructional, mainly remote learning, what is that going to look like? And I am going to provide a few questions for remote learning after the pandemic as well as during, because once we have all these wonderful devices, we certainly want to maximize their use. Also, our curriculum, what will that look like? Also, group management. This is a big one, transportation. It's a small committee, but of course, there are rules about how kids can ride buses. Although we don't have a huge bus fleet, we do have students who use buses, and we have to talk about whether we'll be able to provide that transportation, and if so, what it would look like. And of course, in building group management, what do classrooms look like? I am waiting with bated breath to see if Governor Cuomo says that we must sit 6 feet apart, or if we must sit 6 feet apart if possible. There's a big difference between the two. What do we do to make sure our kids are safe and healthy in the classroom? So the roles and responsibilities of the task force are as follows. The task force groups were divided by building and or focus area, and wherever I could, I tried to put people where they requested to be. Sometimes I wasn't able to do that. So if you wanted instruction and I had a lot of people for instruction, I might have moved you to building practices and protocols because they're very related. There's 1 to 2 teacher chairs per focus group. The teachers have Google accounts. They're going to set up a Zoom or a Google Meet. They take the notes of the discussion and they submit to Dr. Finn, meaning me. I'm not looking for names of people, so you can speak freely. Okay, I want you to share your thoughts. There'll be 3 to 4 guiding questions, 3 scenarios, very narrow focus. Okay, 2 parent community liaisons. And what those parents are going to do is share the outside resources to me. There'll also be a liaison for parents if they want to talk to another parent, and those 2 parents will report to me, and they are Dr. Laura Wenger and Lisa Mancuso. Okay, I do need 1 more if someone is interested. Today I will be sending you some resources. I'm going to send you an EdWeek article on how schools can be set up and structured to be safe. I'm going to send you the Capital BOCES guidelines. At some point, we are going to send you the results of the survey analysis. So if you haven't filled out the survey yet, please do so, and please be honest. I will send everyone a complete list of the questions for all the focus groups so you can see all of the questions. Even though you're only going to be answering a few of them, you'll see all of them. And today I will send the templates, the questions, and the group lists to each chair. So you'll be in a group with 6 or 7 other people. Generally, they'll be from your building or your area. There's a new email address for you to send questions to. The task C19 has been deactivated, so you may send any questions or concerns to cfin@cpscloud.net or cfin@cpsk12ny.us. I have revamped our timeline just a little. I was very ambitious. I was trying to get this done by July 1st, but I don't think that's going to be possible. So what I'm going to ask is that the task force chair set up these Zooms or Google Meets from June 22nd to July 3rd. It should not be a long meeting, and you really only have to meet 1 time, but you can meet as often or as little as you like. I do ask that it be a live meeting. I don't want written feedback only, although you certainly can send it. I really want people to talk and generate ideas. We have a lot of smart, experienced people in this district. We have people who are teachers in other districts. We have people who have businesses who are already practicing safe social protocols, and we want all of those people to share with us. On July 6th, I'm going to ask that all the feedback forms be sent to me. And hopefully by July 10th, a preliminary action plan will be created. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. So we influence everything. We really decide nothing. So we do all the collaborative work. We have to work with our teachers' unions. There's tons of contractual issues. We have safety concerns, health and wellness concerns, and we want to make sure all stakeholders are represented. You are the grassroots level that's going to give us the raw material we need. We're going to put that together with my administrators and my union heads. Of course, our Board of Education will be involved because they set the policies and there may need to be some changes to them. And finally, we are going to be answering, of course, to the Department of Health and to the governor and the Center for Disease Control. And here's my usual disclaimer. This plan is completely subject to change. So if the governor shows up today with a plan, that may change our plan and it might change our focus going forward. So today, look for an email from me with the articles that I discussed that I hope you'll read before you meet with your group. I think it will be helpful to you. Kind of gives you an idea of what other places are doing. Capital Region BOCES has a very comprehensive plan, lots of good questions in there. Take a peek at the list of guiding questions so you can see what your compatriots are going to be doing in their groups. And certainly feel free to share anything that you come across with me. Okay. So I want to thank you for all you do. I'm going to stop the share. Whoop. Hello, hello. Sign myself out. Okay, we're all there. Can you all see me now? Perfect, okay. I'm not gonna unmute everybody because there's a lot of people here. There's 89 people. If there's anyone who has any pressing concern or question, you can certainly email me and I will gladly answer your questions. Remember, task force has a chair. There's a teacher or two. They're going to be collecting the, facilitating the conversation, keeping everybody on task. 3 scenarios, 3 to 5 questions. So perhaps you're on the district health and safety committee. It'll say group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. So in general, group 1 is Cherry Lane, group 2 might be Rushmore, group 3 is middle school, and group 4 is usually the high school. And I split those because there's a very big difference between the middle school and the high school. Very different educational kind of responses, especially on the instructional team for the kids who are going to high school than the kids who are starting their foundation to go into high school. Instructional committee, just to give you some ideas, going to be talking about assessment, grading, but not all at once. The types of ways that we can help figure out where kids are and what they've missed, how we can best maximize synchronous and asynchronous instruction together. So that's the instructional committee. Facilities committee is probably going to be talking a lot about safety and security because a lot of the rules that we're hearing are to keep your windows and doors wide open. And of course, that's the exact opposite of all the safety rules we've been hearing for many, many years. But how do we balance the two? Transportation, every other seat with a child. I'll give you another given. We don't have money to buy double the buses. So we've got to figure out a way to do that. If we have to be home for any given amount of time, if the governor says, yeah, half the kids can come back, come up with a split schedule, we want to know what that will look like. And we recognize fully that people want to go back to work and that there are young children that need to be cared for, both the staffs and both our families. So what does that look like? Maybe the middle school, high school does a split schedule and we try to house all the little kids in any available classroom. I'll give you a little hint of what I'm thinking. We are, as you'll read in the document, there's a lot of recommendations that say kids should try to stay in as one classroom for as long as possible. So in other words, not as much traveling and transferring. How does that happen? So if you're on the building practices and protocol committee, you're going to be talking a lot about scheduling and what that could look like. Again, we'll take all the information. We will absolutely share it with you. We'll probably meet again so I can read your feedback. And if I have questions, I'll certainly pop in and ask various people in the committees to share with me if that is okay with you. I don't share names, so you can speak freely to me. Okay, all righty. I am taping this. I will send it to everybody. I wish you, I did that in 20 minutes. I'm fairly impressed. I wish it would only take 20 minutes to come up with a plan. I suspect it will be much longer, but many hands make light work. So I want to thank you again for volunteering for this important work. I appreciate it. And I think that when September comes, we're going to be in better shape than we are right now. And I'm looking forward to that. Have a great summer, everybody. And you'll be hearing from me today via email. All righty. Take care. Bye-bye. You can unmute yourselves and say hello.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great summer.
Everyone.
I see myself.
Be well.
Mr. Bello, Ms. Yonker, I have you on special areas and technology. I'll talk to you about that in a bit.
Okay.
That's a very unique area, very narrow.
Okay,
All right. Hi,
thank you.
Jennifer. You're welcome. I
Take
see you.
care.
You too. Thank you, Laura. Laura, I'll call to let you know what I want you and I to do with that, okay? Because I know you're a teacher in another district. I'm very interested in anything you can share or collect. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, everybody.